Hi, everybody. Welcome into another edition, a live edition of Inside the Texans. We do it each and every Monday here on KPRC2 Plus, also on our YouTube and click2houston.com. I'm Randy McEvoy, and we are here to talk about the Texans' victory, a close win in Jacksonville over the Jaguars. Pleasure to have Kim Davis from Chalk Talk hanging out with us this morning, and also Brian Big Sarge Bearfield. Got the hat, breaking out the hat.
Yeah,
nice look today. We got a lot to get to, guys, in the next half hour or so, how this show rolls. We'll have some sound coming up momentarily from D'Amico and CJ and some of the guys there in the locker room in Jacksonville. Initial thoughts. Let's go that direction first. Getting out of a stretch against Tennessee, game you lost. Yeah. Jacksonville, 2-9, a game you barely held on to win. What's the concern meter right now, getting past this and knowing what's ahead?
You go ahead first, Kim.
So, first of all, I'm kind of over the, oh my gosh, it was just Jacksonville. This team needs to beat whoever they play, right? Mm-hmm. They needed that win yesterday. It was important. They did some things better. It was they were better offensively in terms of
Absolutely.
Bobby Slowick has taken a beating, right? It was better. The defense wasn't great in the second half, but they were also missing Azeez, which I'm sure we'll talk about later. So my concern meter is I'm glad they have the week off and that they can get some rest and try to regroup. There's still some things they're trying to fix, but they're trending in the right direction.
Okay, good. And you get that week. That's a good point. The bye week, I think, is coming at a great time with some things they need to get corrected, push that reset button, and lock in here.
Yeah.
What I seen on Sunday was exactly what I expected, because these divisional games are always close. And even when the Texans took the lead on them, as big a lead that they had, I knew that Jacksonville was going to play. Because when you look at Indianapolis, the way the Texans play Indianapolis, the way they play Tennessee, the way they play Jacksonville, you're playing these teams 2 times a year, and they pick up those tendencies, they pick up those habits, and I figured that they would be, the game would be exactly like it was, very, very close. With the bye week coming up, I like the fact that the Houston Texans are 8-5, and I think that they need this, because if you go back and if you think about it, they've been playing football for a very long time. With the addition of the Hall of Fame game to the preseason, they started OTAs early, they started training camp early. And for a lot of these guys on the team, you know, first, second year players, this is a long time that they've been playing football. So they get this break, and then they go right back into a gauntlet.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of the numbers coming out of that victory over the Jacksonville Jags. 23-20 is the final. Now, Jacksonville, they had them down 23-6, and my point is you got to find a way to bury teams. You can't be up 23-6 and let that happen, because if Mixon didn't convert on that last play, who knows what would have happened. But that's my concern, and I agree with you. I think they are trending in the right direction. But you've got much better competition coming up, and you can't let teams back in. It was my point on that. And you see some of the numbers. Joe Mixon, again, over 100 yards. Yeah. What is that, 6 straight?
6 straight.
On the road, right? With a touchdown. What a run he has had. Collins was being Nico. And then good to see Schultz get involved. I think it's important. We hadn't seen a lot of Schultz this year. It's good to get those numbers out of him as well.
But also it's good that Schultz and Stover did a good job blocking. I mean, the tight ends were instrumental yesterday in what we saw. You saw Robert Woods get out and you know, throw a block on one of those things that opened up for Mixon. But getting the tight ends more involved, not just in the passing game, but in the pass protection, I think is key.
Good point.
And the way that we've watched this defense play throughout the season, the way that they've been saving the offense in the second half, it's kind of weird to see them playing the way that they played, and especially on yesterday. But if I could give them a pass, what I will say is, coming into that game, they were preparing to play against Trevor Lawrence, playing against a backup that they had not seen before, playing against Mac Jones, who was also familiar with the offense, being that he played while Trevor Lawrence was out with the shoulder injury. So their offense had some continuity. So this wasn't just a regular backup that they were playing against. So I think that they, you know, that defense, that kind of took them by surprise.
All right, we'll get to the big talker coming out of that game, the hit from Azeez Al-Shaair on Trevor Lawrence here in a moment. Right now, I think we've got some sound coming in from the locker room here from a couple of guys after that win yesterday.
We needed this. We need to come in, the way game back against the wall, come in and handle business. That's what we did. So it's a great win, great team win. I feel like we all went out there and handled business. So got the win at the end of the day.
So I'm just glad that, like I said, we was able to do that. We was able to close it out, you know, in running fashion, and we get to go home and enjoy the dub.
All right, happy flight home. Those are always good.
Yeah.
And you're right. You check that box. It's 23-20. Who cares? They got the win. Wins are hard to come by, especially this time of year. You got to get them. They're 8-5.
Right.
Only imagine losing yesterday. What it would have been like during this bye week. So you've got a good feeling now as you get into the.
And let me first say that I am not comparing the Houston Texans to the Kansas City Chiefs, right? But look at how the Chiefs have skated by in a lot of games.
Right.
And the conversation is, but they won. That's what matters.
Yeah.
And so I think you've got to give the Texans that. Have they had some losses they should have won? Absolutely. But I think the key is they won.
Yeah. And you have a very, you have a very young team being led by players who are in their rookie year or in their second season. You're depending a lot on them. So for them to be where they are right now, using some of that experience that they had last season. Now, of course, when we go back and we look at some of these bad losses to the New York Jets, when we look at some of these, that bad loss to the Tennessee Titans. And look, I'm glad, Randy, that they escaped Jacksonville, because I'm saying to myself, another 2-win team, or are you just going to gift them a win? So it was good for them to be able to get out of Jacksonville and headed to the bye week 85.
Absolutely. All right, let's listen in. We got some D'Amico Ryans now addressing the media after that victory on Sunday.
Yeah, it's a really nice win for us, a huge win for us to get one in our division. One I'm really proud of, the way our guys just played complementary football, right? That's been a struggle for us in the games that we've dropped. So just seeing everybody step up and make a play when the other side wasn't doing so well, like everybody played together. And that's what's most impressive about this win, and none other than when we need a first down, seeing our offense being able to run the ball there on 3rd and 5 to get the first down. Our O-line, I thought they did a really great job all game with protection and also just run blocking. And Joe, again, another big game on the road, running the football. Like, really just proud of the effort that all of our guys showed today. Oh, now the story is flipped. We can score in the second half. All right, so we tried to save our points for the second half this week. So, really, our offense did a good job there. We settled for some field goals early in the first half, but the defense, I thought, did a good job of holding their offense as well, and coming out the second half just to see us go down and drive. It's been an emphasis for us, and it's nothing different. Our guys just executed and made the plays that were there for us in the second half. Yeah, Joe is, man, you talk about a guy who plays with the relentless mindset, the tenacity that you need. Joe's an old school running back. Like, he's a guy who wants it 30 times, and he keeps getting better the more touches that he gets. So really proud of him to know he's hurting, right, and still push through, right, to still churn out yards, even when, they're loading the box, and to still be able to find a way to get yards. It's really impressive by our O-line and I thought our tight ends, right, I can't say enough about the way they blocked today as well. I thought they did an outstanding job blocking, and Joe ran it really well. Yeah, the pass protection I thought was really, really great. None better, I think, than the play on Dalton getting the touchdown. Like, they pressured us, and the CRO line, our back, step up. And you challenge those guys to step up, make sure we give CJ time. And when you give him time, he can make great decisions with the football. And I'm really proud of our offensive line. They got the game ball today, and they deserved it for the way they protected him. Yeah, it's a win for us, a big win for us. Now, we need a break. It's been a long time. Our guys been going for, I don't know, it's just 13 weeks straight now. It's been a long time, and our guys, I think we felt that towards the end of the game. Our guys are gassed, and we need our bye week is coming up at the perfect time for us.
All right, Texas head coach D'Amico Ryans at the podium last night. You could tell by what he was saying. Very happy they got out of there, and he admitted there is stuff they've got to work on starting in this bye week. In fact, we got a poll question: what should the Texans focus on during this bye week when they reconvene? There's some of your options right there: red zone play, offensive line, penalties, all of the above. Feel free to weigh in. click2vote.com, and the results will pop up a little bit later. We'll have another question as well. So let's get to the story coming out of this game. People were talking about it, Aziz Al-Shaair, and that hit late in the first half with, I think it was around 4 minutes left in the second quarter. And I think we got some videos. If we can, let's roll that video and take a look at it. This is ground level from yesterday, and a controversial hit. Of course, he was ejected from the game. There's the hit on Trevor Lawrence. He's since come out today with a statement. We were just talking during that interview with D'Amico. Thoughts on this hit and the takeaways from it?
So it was an awful hit. right? It was a bad hit. There's just no real explanation for the hit, right? But here's what I will say. When we get into the, man, it was dirty. For me, dirty infers intentional. I don't think that's, I mean, because I've had the pleasure of working and covering him since he's been here, that's not who he is. Do people make mistakes? Absolutely. That's one you want back. There's no place for it. I'm not excusing the play, but to say that somehow is who he is, and now it's turned into these other attacks on his faith, him being a black man, a Muslim, it's too much. And some of the people, Sarge, you posted something yesterday that are talking about it, former players who now have a microphone. It's like, do you remember when you played?
Yeah.
I just think it was a bad play. It's not one you want in the game, but if I'm a coach, if I'm covering the team, if I'm a teammate, I want Aziz on my team every time I go out.
Physical style, and you look at the play, and, yes, it was a very rough hit. I'd probably say cheap shot, but it is a
cheap shot.
It's a physical sport, and that's the way he plays. And it was also a split-second situation where Lawrence was starting his slide, and I think at that point it's a reactionary thing, and he,
at the first down marker, right?
Yes.
He's trying to stop that. Is what I think he was trying to stop.
And Randy, I'm going to be honest with you. I had to look at it through the lens of 2024 because I was born in the 70s, and so I've been watching football for a very long time. And that type of hit would have been 15 yards and would have been played on every sports station around, and just saying how big the hit was. But I had to put myself into 2024, and then it becomes subjective to me because now I'm wondering, how are you supposed to pull up coming at that rate of speed? I got a chance to speak with a couple of former NFL players on last night, asking them about the play, and they said, one, it depends on which team you're a fan of, that you're going to say that it was a cheap shot, it was a dirty shot, or it was Trevor Lawrence should have slid earlier. And they said, but when you're in the heat of the moment, it is very hard to stop yourself coming that fast. Also, when what Aziz is doing probably is going through his mind and saying, I've seen too many quarterbacks pick up cheap yards like this by pretending to slide or faking to slide, and then they get away with those type of things. So there's a lot of things that I went through. Do I think that it was a late hit? Yes. Penalized? Could he have been ejected for the hit? Yes. I see all of that. But Randy, my other question would be is, if Trevor Lawrence knows he has a shoulder injury, why aren't you sliding early, especially coming against one of the players?
Last second,
You know that Aziz is one of those guys. He plays as if he's still an undrafted free agent trying to make a roster.
Yeah, and again, I think it goes down, at least when I watch it, the slide happens, Aziz is coming full steam at you.
Yes.
There's not much time to react. You're going to deliver the hit. And
TB doesn't do it justice, the speed of the game.
Did he jam his elbow in a little bit?
Yeah.
Probably so. But
well, he led with it, so you like to jam it. But yeah, the speed of the game, we just can't. If you're not on the field level, you just don't really see how fast it is.
Yeah.
And people are saying, well, he hadn't started to pull up or anything.
Yeah. Wasn't like
he's trying to get to the first down.
And I'm not making excuses, but it wasn't like he threw a pass in the pocket, he'd already delivered and standing there, and then he gets drilled. Okay, that's a lot different.
Yes, and when he went to hit him, it wasn't he was aiming for the head. He aimed for the shoulder, hit him in the shoulder. His head hit the turf.
Yeah.
And so anytime you get that type of bang bang play, anytime you get those type of hits, that's 9 times out of 10, that's what's going to happen. And so if he was a dirty player, he would have used the forearm and went straight to the helmet, to the head area, but he didn't. He just went and tried to hit him in the shoulder, and, unfortunately, it was a bang bang play.
All right, speaking of this topic, reaction from his teammates that were in the locker room after the victory. Here's what they had to say about the hit from Al-Shaair on Trevor Lawrence. Take a look.
Yeah, it's unfortunate with the hit with Aziz. It's, that's not what we're coaching. It's just want to be smart in everything we do and not hurt the team, get a penalty there. We just have to be smarter when the quarterback is going down. Just an unfortunate play, not representative of who Aziz is. Like, Aziz is a smart player, really great leader for us, and we felt his presence not being there, not his loss. It really affected us on the defensive side. Just not what we're coaching. I didn't want to see the melee and all of the aftermath. That's not what we're about. Just not representative of us. So I'll talk to Aziz, address him personally, and we'll move forward from it.
prayers to Trevor, and I really hope and pray he's okay, and prayers to his family as well. But yeah, I'm still rocking with Aziz. I don't think that was his intent, and I pray that Trevor is okay, and his family is right there with him.
Aziz plays fast, man. He plays physical. Obviously he's one of the faster linebackers. He gets to the ball quick, relatively quick at that. And he's been in the league for 6 years. He knows how to play ball, and he's not a dirty player at all. I don't think his intentions was towards to hurt him. He's just trying to get us off the field. He's trying to get us the offense back on the field, and we praise how he plays, but we know that he's not intentional like that.
All right, some comments there from D'Amico Ryan, C.J. Stroud. That was Tim Settle. Again, kind of following what we were talking about. He's not a dirty player, but he is no doubt a physical football player out there. Sure. And Tim Settle saying there definitely wasn't intentional at all.
Yeah, I think what's a little frustrating is, and I get it, becomes this national story and there's a narrative, and even some people locally who don't know him, right? They don't go out and cover him. It's easy to say, well, he's starting to get a reputation. And remember that hit in the Chicago? Stop doing that, right? Yeah. What a linebacker is supposed to do. And like Sarge, I'm a little bit older, but covering the game a long time, you want a linebacker who's going to, run through a wall. Yeah. And it doesn't mean you want them to hurt people.
It's almost a Brian Cushing mentality.
Yeah. Absolutely. You need that kind of tenacity. You want that. And so it just went too far yesterday.
And you can tell by the way that D'Amico talked about him. You can tell by the way that his teammates talked about him. And even the people in the media that actually interact with him on a consistent basis week by week. Aziz has been nothing but a model player since he's been with the Houston Texans. He always speaks. He doesn't mind speaking to the media. He always makes time when he can.
Absolutely.
And so to talk about his character now, he is one of those guys that soft-spoken in the locker room, but turns it on the field. He turns into a whole different animal on the field. And so, I just don't like the fact that his character is being attacked. Of course, talk about the play as much as you want, but, don't attack the man's character because that's not who he is.
D'Amico made it clear. He said, I'm going to talk to Aziz. And I think some people here locally want to see D'Amico come out fiery and say stuff, but that's just not who he is. Right. He's going to handle it the way he handles it. And he says, we don't coach it that way. Right. We're not that team.
D'Amico has been there. He knows what that's like.
Yeah.
Who better to hear and get counsel from than your head coach who's been through the trenches?
And not only that, Randy, I mean, when Aziz was coming out of college as an undrafted free agent, D'Amico is the one who wanted him in San Francisco. And so the bond that they have is a little bit different than what a lot of the players on the current team have now. Is because D'Amico wanted him. D'Amico has been his coach. D'Amico is a friend to him. So, it's different. They're going to have a different type of conversation. I can tell you that, though.
Absolutely. And, of course, we'll hear eventually from the NFL, but perhaps tomorrow through Monday Night Football and see what the decision is on a fine or potential suspension as well. All right, so we're going to take a quick break here on Inside the Texans. We've got a lot more to get to. We're going to hear from C.J. Stroud. We'll talk about the bye week and much more. I hope to hear from Aaron Wilson as well, get his take on the victory from Jacksonville. Coming up when Inside the Texans rolls on. All right, we're back live here on Inside the Texans. Got about 8 or 9 minutes left. Again, we do it every Monday live from 11 to 11:30 during the season as we break down the hopefully victory the day before, sometimes a loss, and then, of course, look ahead to what's coming up the rest of the season, and we'll get to that here in just a few minutes. Guys, let's talk offense now. And we mentioned at the top that it was a productive day for this offense. It was a productive second half, which we haven't seen. A lot of talk. Y'all are out there every day too. We await Bobby Slowik's comments every single week. How important was this, just from a mental aspect, to have some productivity there in that second half and get to the end zone?
It was important, right? They needed it. It was really important. Joe Mixon did what Joe Mixon's been doing, and especially when he gets some help up front, the 100 yards, and then. Not just the yards and the touchdown, but the big plays like late in the game when they needed that first down. He's coming through and carrying this team when he has to. That's been really huge. But I think you've got to give Bobby Slowik some credit for the kind of game he called. It has been so easy to talk about what he's not done well.
Yeah.
And it's about putting those players in the best position and then challenging them. That's what D'Amico said. They got some better help from the offensive line. The tight ends did a better job in terms of pass protection and run blocking. You saw receivers step up. I mean, everybody did what they could. CJ, I thought, had a better game yesterday because he struggled a little bit. And what do you say about Nico Collins? He's just a beast.
Yeah.
He's just a beast.
He's a lockdown guy. He's this guy's like, all right, we know what we're going to get out of him. Yeah, maybe an occasional down game, but not this season for sure. As we continue on about the offense, guys, if I can roll that video of the offense, some of the positive plays, from CJ, second half, Joe Mixon, again, you get all the pieces going again, and Mixon had a great day.
Yeah, and one thing that I was really proud to see on Sunday was the offensive line.
Yeah.
The offensive line played so well yesterday, and they only gave up 2 sacks. They, I think it was maybe 9 pressures, but they played really good.
Here's a touchdown there to Dalton Schultz. We talked about that.
Yeah.
I think, and we'll get to the stretch coming up. As this season winds down, you got to have everything locked in right now. And you got to have these tight ends active in this offense.
Yes.
And that was a good start yesterday.
Yeah, you've got to have him active. And Derek, I mean, I know we're talking offense, but Derek Stingley, there he goes again, right? He's just, you just can't get away from him. But I think the offense has something to build on. Yeah, was it a perfect game? No, but I think you got to look at what did they do yesterday, how they go into the bye week. And D'Amico said something later in another interview I saw. He said, you know what, these guys are tired. And I saw it in the second half.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in the 13th, 14th week.
They've been going since
Finally
the second week of July, right?
Yeah.
They had an extra preseason game. They haven't had a bye yet. So we thought earlier, man, it's so late for the bye, but now it's coming at the perfect time.
And look, I know we're in December. I know we're going to, head into Christmas. I don't want to be the Grinch, but yes, Bobby called a good game on yesterday. I want to see more Tank involved.
Yeah.
Tank can't
I
have
agree
one
with you on
catch for
that.
23 yards on the day.
Yeah.
You've got to get everybody involved. And I hope during the bye week, Bobby goes back and he looks at some of the past games and see, how can I get him involved more? How can I get John Mechie involved more? Now that you don't have Stephon Diggs, you got to get these other receivers who are ready to step up into the game.
Well, this bye week will help kind of, you actually get a breather where you
Right.
can just say, all right, what's working, what's not. Let's tweak some things, see if it works. Hey, real quick, let's play some sound from C.J. Stroud, I believe, at the podium yesterday from Jack.
We put some really good drives together in the first half, just couldn't finish it. And something that we got to look back and get better at, just scoring when we got these good drives. We get a turnover by the defense. We got to be able to, try to generate 7, not 3. So, but out there, ultimately, we handled everything well. They switched up a lot of things that they were doing on film and, did a lot of different coverages and different looks and, ran a little bit of man coverage and stuff. So, but I thought we handled it really well. A lot of times where, they're trying to either take me and Nico away or Tank or, Metch Rob, the passing game, and then we're able to run the ball. And then, there's times where they try to take away Joe and then we're able to pass it. So those things, that we're still really new chemistry that we're still working on. And, now I feel like we're starting to get that rhythm, and we got to just keep it going. We always have really good drives, but, those bad plays, we got to get rid of those things. And I feel like we'll be better with that. But I thought our O-line did amazing today, and pass protection did amazing. And then, running the ball at last 3rd and 5 to end the game, they're very, very, very motivated, to be able to run the ball and pass protect. So I thought they did a great job. And,
All right, C.J. Stroud there at the podium in Jacksonville on Sunday. And before we get to Aaron Wilson, praising the offensive line. We were just talking about that. He loved that as well. Yeah. For the most part, good protection. The run blocking was good from that O-line as well.
Yeah, now, like I said, I was happy to see that they were able to give him. CJ's the type of quarterback that it started to look like this season. You could hear him, hearing footsteps and seeing ghosts. And so I like the fact that the offensive line gave him time to produce on Sunday.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Aaron Wilson was there for us in Jacksonville, also writing for ClickToHouston.com. Here are his takeaways there from Jacksonville.
The Texans completed a narrow victory over the Jaguars. You look at what they did to beat their AFC South Division opponent. In the second half, good running from Joe Mixon really put them on his back. A lot of will and want to, toughness from Joe Mixon, one of the best running backs in the NFL. C.J. Stroud missed some throws, but no interceptions this time after a 2-interception effort against the Titans. Cleaner pocket, that's better protection from the offensive line, better run blocking, and they got some credit from Joe Mixon and CJ for their efforts. So where the Texans stand now, 8-5, head into the bye week, get this week off, recharge, maybe retool some things, probably not making wholesale changes, going to stay the course, but they've got to be more imaginative on offense. They've got to be tighter coverage on defense, and they got to keep it up on special teams. This is the stretch run, and for the Texans, they want to not just make the playoffs, which looks good for them. They're leading the AFC South by a couple of games. They want to make some noise in the playoffs. In order to do so, they got to improve and improve fast in the next couple of weeks. We'll see where they end up.
All right, Aaron Wilson there in Jacksonville after the victory with his takeaways. All right, so we got about 2.5 minutes left. It's all about what's ahead for this football team. You're sitting 8-5 right now. Let's pop up what's ahead for the Texans. You get the bye, and then look at what's coming up in December. This is what we've been, when the schedules were released back in late spring, people immediately said, oh my goodness, what is happening in December? Thoughts on the stretch ahead? You got 2 out of 3 at home, and then, of course, that finale at Tennessee.
None of those are gimmies, right? We know that.
Yeah.
It's a tough stretch. I mean, you talk about 3 games in 10 days. It doesn't matter who the teams are. That's a tough road to go.
Yeah.
But the Dolphins are playing better.
Scoring a lot of points.
Scoring a lot of points. I mean, then they're the Chiefs, and they're the Ravens. Everybody's got something to play for. Those are going to be really important games. If they could get 2 out of 3 of those, that would be really, really good.
Yeah.
It's not going to be easy, but I still think this team can take another step up in terms of upping what they're able to do and be productive.
Looking at that schedule, I see that the Texans will go 3-1 to end the season. I think that they can beat the Miami Dolphins. I think they're going to split between Kansas City and Baltimore because neither one of those teams are head and shoulders above anybody else in the AFC. I mean, Buffalo is the top team, but we've seen the Texans rise to the level to be able to beat a team like the Buffalo Bills, and then you end with Tennessee, the revenge game. And so I think that they're going to end the season 3-1. Those teams that I just seen on that schedule are winnable games.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the stretch I see with Kansas City on a Saturday, I believe, right? Yeah,
Yes.
the 21st Saturday game. And then of all teams, you get the short turnaround.
Wednesday.
Turnaround for Baltimore instead of that full week to get ready. So it's going to be fun to see how this team responds. And, of course, coming down to the last week in Nashville against Tennessee as well. I think they're fine in the division. It's about placement now, where you want to finish up seating-wise.
Here's the other thing. I want to see how soon do they get Jalen Petrie back? Do they get him back for the regular season at all? We don't really know. He's not on IR, but hopefully they get him back sooner than later.
Okay, real quick, less than 30 seconds. Plug Chalk Talk.
Chalk Talk, follow me at Kim Y. Davis on Instagram, Kim Y. Davis, on Twitter, Kim Y. Davis Media on Instagram, and you can follow me in Chalk Talk.
Awesome.
Sports Talk with Big Sarge on YouTube at Big Sarge Media, and you can follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter.
All right,
at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end.
YouTube as well. Kim Davis.
Kim, Sarge, enjoyed it. As always, look forward to having you back. Enjoy the bye week.
Yeah.
Should be a fun December. Thanks for watching.